Well, Gaming here. Thank you first of all for watching. So pretty much this is going to be a compilation of gameplay with me kind of running through some different things with Frey. So as you see here, just verifying settings first of all. I'm not going to be talking too much through each of these videos, but my plan is to kind of give an idea of the way in which I think about the game when I'm playing it for those who are also going to be playing the game, are playing it, and will be in the future. I want to try and get an idea of how exactly I go about really adjusting the battles and how I handle things. And the gear and stuff that I just showed there, this gear and this setup, I'll explain a bit more when I do the final big OP vid. But for now, we'll just be doing gameplay entirely. So please enjoy. And if you have anything you'd like me to add into my gameplay, please leave it in the comments. Peace. Okay, so here I'm going to first switch over to fire magic, and then after that we're going to go ahead and start off with fire trap, since we know that the Mylodon's going to stop and roar 9 times out of 10 for a split second once the battle starts. In this way, I use Crucible actually as a defensive guard for myself. Instead of using it just to lock the enemy in, it's more so for me to actually keep him from advancing as much as possible, and then set him up with Surge Magic.
Careful now.
In this one, I'm just going to be doing 2 back-to-back monument runs. Same monument. First time I get through it, but I don't really like the result, so then I go back and I run it one more time just for posterity.
Another try, perhaps?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should be expecting good things.
You're not helping. All right.
Well, do something. This looks like a big one.
Right on the money. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Okay. Damn. Okay. There it is. Hey.
You're quite something when you put your mind to it.
So right here, this run still managed to get me a full 5 circle rating. So I mean, that was still high score. But I just wasn't really satisfied with the way in which I got clipped by those ogres at the end. So let's go ahead and get into this rerun.
Should be expecting good things.
You're not helping. Yup. Okay. All right. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, damn.
All right, so I just want to say that this whole time, if you notice, I've actually been leading the enemies into this area to pull off this Genesis. Again, as I talk about in some of my other videos, placement is key.
Whoa. Yeah. Right on the money. All right.
Okay, so here where I'm using these lightning combos with the darts, so I actually purposefully let Frey drop there so that I wouldn't get hit by that rock. And now as I'm coming around to use Broom, I believe it's called, to actually, on this ogre here, I see that he's throwing the rock again, but I've positioned myself in such a way where with that pillar, it blocks that
Okay.
additional rock that was being thrown.
Yep.
So all of that was kind of, I'm not going to say totally purposeful, but just due to experience, it's like, okay, I'll move to these different areas so that way my blind spots are covered by the terrain. Yeah,
I should make an
so
effort
yeah,
more
just
often.
something else to throw in there, something to think about during gameplay.
Ah. Yeah.
All right, so here you're just going to be seeing a quick fight where I'm using a combination of Prav's magic and then also Olas's magic to take down this
Whoa.
combination of like harpies and then that altar Goliath.
Whoa. Yeah. Hala! Woo.
I don't like the look of this.
All right. Right on the money. Okay.
All right, and so let's switch over to some focused use of phrase spells. Okay, and so as you can see from both of these past encounters, placement for Tendril is also key, right? If you can manage to land Tendril in the center of your enemies, especially in a set of enemies that are either vulnerable or just not resistant to Tendril, it is a game changer.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so for this one, I wanted to show this one off because of the fact that right here, I set up this deer for the attack. I wait for it, and then notice you can use Blast Spear in such a way where you can catch an enemy even when they're not directly in front of you, if you know how to set it up right. Alright, now as for this one right here, I just thought it looked cool. So yeah, enjoy. All right, so here we have a situation where I'm taking out 3 ogres. So as you can see, I tend to use broom quite a bit. I really like it because it gives you that invisibility and then it gives you a chance to set up, like in this case, to actually use something like cataract. Again, on higher difficulties, if you're standing still and you use surge magic, 9 times out of 10 you are going to get knocked out of it. So you have to worry about visibility. All right, so with this one, I wanted to do 2 things. I just wanted to, one, show how to set up Prime in a way where you can get a bunch of enemies to follow you into the attack range. And then the second thing here, and this is very important, you see how I'm kind of moving around to make sure that I have the right setup. I know that if I stop at any point during that attack that those goats are doing, and I try and set up for this Genesis, I would have gotten hit. So I had to make sure I had enough clearance to get them while still keeping aggro to be able to take them down in one go. Alright, so this one right here is going to be a Prov Magic special. Pay attention to how I'm actually using the area itself, the battlefield, to fight. I'm pretty much going to do things in such a way where I'm using a variety of Prov spells, but the main point is that I'm hiding between the buildings and making sure that those buildings are providing cover as I actually launch my specific magic techniques.
Yeah.
Alright, something else to note is that homing spear right there. As you can see, I just did a cutback, and that allowed me to confuse the direction of the homing spear. So of course that way it can't turn well enough to be able to follow me at that point to wherever I'm going to go.
Are they calling for backup?
I think we better shut them up, don't you?
Oh, damn. Okay.
Alright, so here I'm going to show off again that whole placement thing. You know, big time tendril usage right there to be able to take out a huge group of enemies at once. Setting down disperse and then running enemies past that location so that that way the birds, for example, or at least the majority of them, will get taken out by it. Making sure that you keep an eye on where the bigger enemies are, but then also setting up in such a location where I can actually get a good enough aerial to be able to figure out where to set up something like E-Gray. And then after that, from there, just figuring out where's the best spot to clean up the remainder of the enemies.
Yeah. Huh.
Alright, so here, even though these are just going to be some really straightforward, easy enemies, I just want to show exactly how fast you kind of need to be able to deal with lock-on, right? You're only going to see 2 enemies, but it's just really important to be able to adjust the camera quickly, adjust lock-on, and be able to get your positioning as fast as possible, especially when dealing with flying enemies. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the big leagues here. This is going to be a monument to wisdom known as the Last Stand. This, I believe, is the most difficult monument to wisdom in the game. Complete ridiculosity in terms of the enemies that you have to deal with. So please enjoy what you're about to see here. I'll comment on very specific parts of the gameplay if need be, but for the most part, this is just handling mobs as quickly as possible, but of course high level mobs. So yeah. Enjoy.
Whoa.
So just some quick commentary. You'll be seeing me use Storm Dart Lightning throughout this entire Last Stand fight for the most part. The reason being is that Storm Lightning has that pushback effect, that knockback, right? So even for enemies that are totally resistant to Storm Dart, it's still actually very, very good to use because for non tank enemies, it pushes them back. It gives you distance. And that field is wide enough to where it will also catch flying enemies as well.
All right. Yup. That's it. Let me guess. Bad guys nearby?
Probably one.
Right on the money. Yup. Bullseye. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
This looks like a big one.
There it is. Yeah. Got him. No monsters here, huh?
Were you hoping for a little exercise?
You really don't know me.
Here I decided to set up Prime to be able to block the starting advance of the Boggarts, and then that Crucible wall again. In this case, I'm using Crucible to keep enemies out, and then after that continuing into a Surge Magic so that way again I'm stopping their advance. So I tend to use Crucible in the way that probably people would say it's not intended, which is I tend to use Crucible as a wall to keep things from coming in instead of actually a method of trapping things inside of Crucible. Trapping them inside is the most effective way to do damage to them if you're willing to fight in up close and personal. But the problem is that when you're playing on like a no-hit style with the significantly increased damage and everything, you really can't afford to get caught in a situation where you get hit too often. Now, right here is an example of what you don't really do. This was honestly a wasted surge magic, just keeping it 100. I kind of messed up in that moment. I really should have saved that surge magic because it would have made more sense to let more of the enemies come in, and then after that I could have used something like Conflagration, for example, or I could have used Tempest level 3 right here in the center. Because see, now I have this flood of zombies coming in that I could have taken out using a surge magic in one go.
Okay. Huh. Hey. Ah. Yep. Okay.
Look out!
Alright, so here in the final seconds, I'm just doing whatever I can to get as many kills as possible.
I'm in trouble
And
here.
yeah, I mean, we definitely still pulled out the 5 stars on this one. I'm not super happy about the last hit from that Goliath, but it is what it is. I just love the Sonic roll recovery that she did there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this Abomination Gigas fight.
You're acting low, will you?
Yeah.
Alright, so this is going to be the Abomination Gigas. Abominations are the top level enemies pretty much in the Forspoken game. You have 4 of them. This is going to be the Gigas level 1, which is pretty much Gigas is a fire type all the way. So in that regard, the way that the Gigas works and because of how his attacks are structured, lightning is actually the best magic to use. I did forget to scan to show you that, but
Look at
yeah,
this fucker.
he's vulnerable to
That is
lightning.
something else.
And so what we're going to do here is we're going to use a combination of pulse darts, storm darts, some of the other darts to take him down. I'm sure you saw that I also used inundation at the start of the fight as well. One of the big things with something with an enemy like this, as you can see, the way to use the lightning tree is to pour as much lightning to the enemy as possible. You do not want to just be using the final blow like that some of the time, like for only 1 or 2 darts that have hit. You want to make sure that you have a bunch of them down range before you use that ability. Also, I'm sure you just noticed that I use skip as well to dodge his attacks. There's a good way to dodge using skip. There's a bad way to dodge using skip. If you notice, I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping my character low to the ground so that there is as little hang time as possible, because if there's hang time, you're vulnerable, and if you're vulnerable, you're probably going to die. So that's one of the big keys to using skip. Right here, I'm just making sure to use the terrain to my advantage. I know when I'm landing with skip, I know when I'm coming out of skip, and also, and this is very important as I'm sure you just noticed there, I am very quick to move if I see that the setup is not to my advantage. Now here, I actually messed up. I was trying to activate inundation and then switch back to lightning, and I didn't get the button press in time, and so as a result I just wound up using the cataract surge magic instead of tempest. So that was kind of like a wasted surge magic, unfortunately. See, right there is another very good way to use skip. I literally skipped behind him as he was using that ultimate attack. And right there, that was a perfectly timed shimmy, because if I hadn't have used that shimmy and I tried to run with normal flow, he still would have gotten me with that smash.
That's it. Yeah. Yep.
So see right there, I knew that the terrain would block that first one, and then I dodged that second smash with the skip. He's still extremely fast though, so if you are actually playing this game and you're about to try and fight the Gigas, please keep in mind everything that I'm doing here, I'm having to make sure that I keep an eye on him very, very
Yep.
well because he can very quickly close distance with any of his attacks.
Uh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Now, see, this is an example of using Seeker Dart too, right? And so that's one of the things I really wanted to show was to just switch between all of the different dart types during
Yep.
this fight. I wanted to do the undamaged side of it as well, but just also to show you the different things. And here I just wanted to troll. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually do a photo mode right after we get. So I pretty much what I did is I used suppression
Damn.
to reduce my presence, quote unquote, right? Then after that, set him up to where we got him to turn into the Tempest. We got him locked into it, and then we take a nice little photo with him as we pretty much
It
finish
was
him
fun.
off.
But you prevailed in the end.
But so with
Thanks
this,
to
this is the
yours
end of the
truly.
video. Thank you so much for sticking
Had to
around
try
and
it
for
for the whole
watching
hilarious
everything.
comeback thing
Let
right
me know
now.
in the comments if you have
Sorry.
any suggestions, improvements for my gameplay, ways I can kind of maximize on Frey's abilities. And yeah, thanks for watching. See y'all in the next one. Peace.
PlayStation